Well, in a related development, the French police arrested 29 people in a sting operation today, targeting a network of terror financing for jihadist groups in Syria. Well, the network has been active since 2019 and operated mostly by buying cryptocurrency coupons, which were then credited to Bitcoin accounts. The French authorities have announced 8,051 new cases of COVID-19 and 85 deaths during the course of the last 24 hours. The number of new cases is double the Monday figure, which is, it must be noted, slightly deceptive, being the first day after the weekend when not many people get tested. Well, France is currently experiencing a sharp increase in COVID-19 cases, which is making the back-to-school season even more complicated than it would ordinarily be. The government recommends online classes for university students, but a number of schools are saying that face-to-face learning is the only option. France 24's Yinka Oyetade has more.
In this university's first law lecture of the year, there are no vacant seats. The hall is so overcrowded that some students have resorted to sitting on the floor. With COVID-19 cases in France on the rise, students here don't feel safe.
On essaye de vraiment limiter au maximum le risque de contamination, mais voilà, le risque n'est pas de zéro.
To limit class numbers, the university is implementing online lectures.
Nous avons ici possibilité de faire cours devant un public en présentiel, devant un demi-groupe, et à distance, les étudiants chez eux peuvent visualiser le cours.
This university in Paris has taken a completely different approach. All students here have to attend face-to-face classes. While learning from home is only recommended by the government, students still worry.
Ça me plaît pas trop parce que mes parents ils sont pas forcément en bonne santé, donc j'ai pas envie de les rendre malades en rentrant le soir.
The university takes full responsibility for its decision.
Nous déplorons 11 cas de Covid étudiants sur 43 000, 3 cas personnels. Donc pour l'instant, et sous réserve qu'évidemment la situation ne se dégrade pas, le choix de la rentrée présentielle était manifestement le bon choix.
The university has said if the number of COVID cases continues to increase, it is ready to take more radical measures, including closing campuses.
It is time now for business, and I'm joined by our business editor, Kate Moody. Hi there, Kate.
Hi there, Tom.
Now, shall we begin with that news that high-speed mobile phone networks, or 5G, could be in our hands or at our fingertips pretty soon?
They could be here in France because the government has begun auctioning off 11 blocks of frequencies for 5G. That could see a faster mobile network up and running in some French cities by the end of this year. Now, the 4 major mobile networks in France are vying for these blocks, which will give them the capacity to launch 5G. The auction is expected to raise more than 2 billion euros for the French state. Some activists have expressed concerns about the potential health and environmental effects of 5G, while the global leader in the technology, China's Huawei, has sparked its own concerns about security. French authorities, though, insist they're determined to roll out the new network, and that could involve some new regulations.
Il faut poser les conditions pour que la manière dont cette technologie est déployée par ces entreprises privées se fasse effectivement dans l'intérêt des gens. C'est la posture du régulateur, du gendarme, quelque part, que nous avons voulu adopter sur la 5G.
Well, many countries are effectively phasing out the use of Huawei's equipment in the coming years as the US leads a campaign against the tech giant. In the UK, the Finnish group Nokia has sealed a contract with BT to provide equipment for 5G networks. Prime Minister Boris Johnson banned mobile providers from using Huawei in July, giving an opportunity to Huawei's Western rivals. On Tuesday, a US official said that Nokia and Swedish giant Ericsson should be the only companies European governments were considering choosing. Meanwhile, back in France, a debate is raging over Huawei's plans to build a new factory near the German border. Catherine Viette has the details.
This is Huawei's biggest factory in China, and now it's hoping to build one like it in Strasbourg. Since the start of the year, the Chinese tech giant has been holding talks with officials to find the right space to produce 5G antennas.
C'est une usine qui va faire grosso modo 60 000 m². C'est le souhait en tout cas des promoteurs, qui devrait permettre d'employer 300 personnes et qui va fabriquer des composants électroniques permettant de développer des produits Huawei en Europe.
But not everyone is happy about the proposal. The city's new green mayor is worried about its environmental impact, while the president of the wider urban area says there are security concerns to consider.
La technologie questionne et c'est important que le débat ait lieu. Elle a un potentiel d'emploi. Je ne peux que répéter, c'est des éléments qui sont dans la balance. Et c'est bien en échangeant en direct avec l'entreprise que nous pourrons prendre la meilleure décision, j'en suis sûre.
While the French government has not prohibited telecom companies from using Huawei's technology, it has already told those firms they won't be able to renew licenses for the gear once they expire. Such a move would effectively see the Chinese firm phased out of mobile networks by 2028.
Nous n'interdisons pas à Huawei d'investir sur la 5G. Nous protégeons nos intérêts de sécurité nationale.
If Huawei moves ahead with the Strasbourg plant, it could invest around 200 million euros and create 500 jobs in the long term.
The Spanish government has agreed to extend its emergency furlough scheme until the end of January. Like many other European countries, Spain launched that program during the lockdown in April to avoid large-scale layoffs. The support was due to expire tomorrow, but it's been renewed until the end of January after talks with unions and employers. Some 750,000 people are currently receiving furlough payments in Spain, down from a peak of 3.4 million earlier this year. Spain's National Court, meanwhile, has acquitted former IMF chief Rodrigo Rato and 31 other defendants in a fraud trial linked to the country's banking crisis. After stints as Spanish economy minister and managing director of the International Monetary Fund, Rato took the reins of the bank Caja Madrid in 2010. He oversaw the merger of 7 lenders into what is now known as Bankia. But that banking group nearly collapsed and was nationalized just 2 years later. The personal savings of hundreds of thousands of shareholders were wiped out. Rato had been accused of cooking the books, but a judge found Bankia's stock listing had received all the necessary oversight. Rato's already serving a 4.5-year jail sentence in a separate case for the misuse of Bankia credit cards. Let's check in on the day's trading action now. The major European indices dropped back after strong gains on Monday, losses of between 0.2 and 0.5 percentage point, despite some new data indicating a surprising jump in economic sentiment in the Eurozone in September. Wall Street's also trending lower. The Dow Jones had shed about 200 points earlier in the session, paring back some of those sharper losses this hour. Airline stocks have been weighing on trade, though, as the number of coronavirus cases in the United States continues to rise. Voters in Geneva, Switzerland have given the green light to a minimum wage, which will be the highest in the world. It's a move to combat rising levels of poverty in a region known for its high cost of living. But some business owners worry that because of the coronavirus pandemic, the timing is all wrong. James Wilson has the story.
It's a salary that many people around the world can only dream of. 58% of people in the Swiss canton of Geneva have voted to approve an hourly minimum wage of 23 francs, or 21 euros. It will be the highest minimum wage in the world, representing a monthly salary of nearly 3,800 euros for a 41-hour working week.
Je pense que c'est... Effectivement, je ne vois pas comment des gens pouvaient s'en sortir en étant payés moins. Voilà.
Geneva is only the third of Switzerland's 26 cantons to adopt a minimum wage, although the region rejected the idea twice previously, and many employers say the new rate is too high.
C'est quand même assez énorme, parce qu'on ne va pas pouvoir augmenter non plus les prestations. Si on commence à augmenter les prestations, on se retrouve quand même dans une récession. On a le Covid qui s'est installé, on a pas mal de choses qui s'installent. Donc, comme je dis, la concurrence, le Covid et tout, au bout d'un moment, il y a un petit peu trop de choses qui se cumulent.
Supporters of the new measure counter that Geneva has rising poverty and some of the highest living costs in the entire world.
Quand on voit le prix des loyers qui sont très souvent aux alentours des 2000 francs suisses, aujourd'hui ces personnes sont en difficulté et parfois il reste même des notes à payer quand vous allez à l'hôpital.
It's estimated that the new minimum wage will benefit some 30,000 workers, around 2/3 of whom are women.